What is up, everybody? Welcome. Welcome, Mr. Coffee. Hello. It's weird, that camera is like, if I even use the keyboard, it's on me. There he is. Should the webcam really catch my fingers pressing the keys? Is that a little bit weird? Or is it just me? Fingers look like a butt. Alright. That looks like a butt when I do that. Alright, time. Too much volume. Lower the volume. Okay, what's up, Mr. Coffee? Hello? Welcome, XL Poker. XL Poker just submitted a game. Mr. Coffee has not submitted any games. Jim just resubscribed. Tier 1. 43 months. For a long time, Jim wasn't here. Nice to have Jim visit the stream occasionally. I was thinking of you earlier because we went over a Karo Khan advance variation, Jim, which I know you have played in the past. What's up with my board here? It looks like it's misplaced. The board is too off center. I messed up my window capture a little. So I've got the following games. Juicebox. Can't read my own writing. Oh shit, I forgot. Yeah, move 11. Mule Skinner never puts the game in a format I can copy to the study. Arsenal reserved a place, but we haven't seen anything. I'll have to check. He's chat banned. And Nefedov. So we got XL Poker, Nefedov, Move 11, Asterbait, I didn't mention, and Juicebox. What about Schumacher and... What did I just say? No. Arsenal. Is Arsenal like... Arsenal fan? It's unbelievable. Arsenal fan Rich. How many Arsenal fans are there? Damn. There's a lot. Let's see if we got something from him. Sometimes he sends them on... No, actually, let me check on... Let me tweak. Let me tweak. I don't have Twitch. Tweety Bird. We need to open the Twitch. What is that? Why is it showing that window? Alright. It's not supposed to show that window. Damn. There we go. Alright. Arsenal fan, nothing from him. No, Mr. Coffee doesn't need to submit one. Mr. Coffee has the option. So... Schumacher... Sorry guys, I'm a little slow to reuptake. Nothing from Schumacher. We're good. What's up, everybody? Thanks for resubscribing. Is Jim in the house? Do you have an own game? An own game. Own goal. It's like own goal. Damn. Just... XL Poker's gonna force me. I thought I could avoid it. My own goal. Yes, I have an own goal. Literally an own goal. But I really should Not today, my friend. Not today. Guys want to see an own goal, literally? I can show you one. Copy PGN. Can I go back to the study, please? Add a new chapter. Move 11. Hey. I had another funny, entertaining game just for... Why am I not synced in my own study? If I can... Let me see something. Hold on a second. If I could pull up... I want to see if I can... My board is moved again. What is going on with the board? Why is the board weird again? I don't understand. I don't understand. Why is my window capture like moving around? What the hell is going on? I've like locked it and it moves. What? You guys see this? Now it's like locked. And it like moved again. That's really weird. I have a joke game. Just for fun. As well. You guys want to see something stupid? We're always looking for something stupid here. Add a new chapter. Paste. Alright, create chapter. This is, whatever. Yeah, remember? Forward Chess? Well, that's that website. I can't steal their name. Yeah. When I did the Forward Chess, just to warm up, I want to share this joke with you guys. This is not to be taken literally. Forward Chess was this game invented where you have to play where only you know but your opponent doesn't know that you're not allowed to move backward. So it's an interesting challenge. Like, once your queen gets to the back rank, it can never move backwards. I won some interesting games against just like random noobs, but it's surprisingly difficult. You have to just like, once your piece like crosses, like your knight goes to the 5th rank, like it's basically gone, you know. But if you play in really romantic style, you can win like brilliant games, and your opponent never knows you were playing with this constriction or this restriction. You're allowed to move laterally, but only forward or laterally. And the whole point is like if your opponent knew you were doing that, they could take measures to counter it, you know. Hippo's a good strategy. Yeah, probably. But I like to play in romantic style. It's really fun though when you win a good game. But getting a queen on the 8th rank, for example, or a rook on the 8th rank is awkward. Because you can't go back once you get there. Right, so here's a funny game I played last night where I was black and my opponent played the Cochrane Gambit. I took, and then they usually play like d4, and knight c3 is often played. But it's rare that I see bishop c4 check. This is kind of an uncommon move. because black just usually plays d5, and it's like a ready-made pawn sack. Pawn takes pawn, bishop d6, and black has pretty easy game to play. White's down a piece for a couple pawns. But I thought, well, I'm a genius, I can refute this. I played king g6 here just for fun. Against some anonymous player. I thought maybe it's brilliant, no one's ever thought of doing this in the Cochrane Gambit. Why go back passively when you can play king g6? So it's kind of forward chess. It's funny that move 11 sort of shadowed what happened here. It is essentially forward chess, but not like literally. White played castles, and then I think the computer said I should play h6, and white is like, well, it's compensation for the piece. Like, this diagonal can still be dangerous. So don't do this. This isn't really... It's not correct for black. But I decided to play h5. And then white just went crazy and threw the game away with e5. This is just totally losing for white. But I just wanted to show what happened. It was kind of funny. Because I just took here, e4, queen g3 check, bishop g4, h3, bishop d6, queen b3, and now queen e7, threatening like queen e5. White has this annoying check on f7. He took here, I took with the h pawn. Now white's getting mated on the h file, d3. I couldn't find an easy way to finish white off. This was not a tournament game. This was a anonymous 10-minute game played on lichess. Queen e5, g3. And then it was very frustrating because white is threatening like bishop f7 check. So the problem is, like, you want to play queen h5, but you can't because you get mated in too. If you go here, you get mated in too. That's mate, and then otherwise you have to like block your own attack down the h file. So I was like, oh, this sucks. I can't finish him off. So I just played knight c6. He plays check, and then I was like, screw it. I'm not gonna block the file. So I went here. I just thought Asterbait would enjoy it. This is not a serious submission, but I thought Asterbait would like it. He takes. I take with a knight, and black's threatening knight to d4. So here, and the knight to d4, and I like sacrificing my queen here. Sadly, after queen 6 b7, knight f3 check, black resigns. Does anyone know why black resigned after knight f3 check? Let's see how smart you are. Why did black resign after knight f3 check? With mate in 1. On the way. Basically, my opponent had like 7 minutes left. No, 8:30, 8:50. And he started to, he just like wouldn't resign. So he was just going to let the clock run out for like 8 minutes. So after a couple minutes, I just resigned. I wasn't going to like sit there for 8 minutes. Anyway, that was just for fun, guys. King g6. Not recommended. This is also a possibility, but just simply d5 is good. Alright, serious games only. So who's here and who's not? Asterbait, Juicebox Wizard's not here yet. He might not be coming at all, but pour on the chess charm. Yeah, guys, don't like time out losing positions. I'll do that. I just resign if it's an unrated game or casual or whatever. Okay, Asterbait with black. Our first serious game today. You recently learned that the reindeer, man, were an ancient tribal group. I always thought that was funny, man. I did not know they were an ancient tribal group. Was that in, like, North American, Native Americans? Caribou! So, e4. This is Astrobai's game with black. Our first serious game. Knight f3, g6. Knight c3, bishop g7. Now an actual accelerated dragon. Wow. Congratulations to your opponent for making it like 4 moves into theory. C takes d4, knight takes d4. And now Astrobae did it again, dude. I don't know, we need to make some kind of rule that Astrobate's not allowed to use less than 10 minutes in his 30-minute games. You played d6 here, homie, you're playing the dragon if you do that. You can't play d6, Astrobate. This is a very, very bad move order. Bad. That's the whole point for playing the accelerated dragon, man. You're not playing d6 so that you can play d5 in one move. And an important concept. You're defeating the whole purpose of playing this move order, man, by playing d6 here. But Astrobate's opponent was like taken aback. We need some kind of method, man, some kind of behavioral therapy for Astrobate, seriously. I don't know if electric shock or some kind of positive reinforcement would be better. Like you get a banana. You get a banana every time, like Turzo's playing. You get a banana every time you use more than 5 minutes in one of your games. We're trying to give some medicine to our guinea pig who is sick. And the idea is to do positive reinforcement. So when the guinea pig like takes the medicine, we give it like some kind of positive reinforcement after the doing what it's supposed to do, you know. Behavioral psychology. Talked about that already. I hated my professor. He was the department head at Boston University of Psychology, and he was the most boring lecturer I ever had. d6, bishop e5 check. So you threw off your opponent by playing d6, and now he's playing totally, like... That's insane, man. There's not a game in the master database for this. How is that even possible? This position would have to have, like, arisen in some offhand game somewhere. That's really weird. There's absolutely nothing wrong with bishop e5 check. I mean, it's a playable move. It's just not great. So here you have an interesting decision. What would Gary do? Should you play knight d7 or bishop d7? And how do you decide? Knight c6. King f8, Astrobate. Why didn't you play king f8 here? That happens in another line. Alright. Oh, this is where I can play... No, it's not where you can play knight c6. It's not. Like, Excel Poker's trying to say, this is where we're trying to play d5 on one move later. You're supposed to play knight c6 now. Duh. Egeshegedre. To your health. So it's too late for that, Astrobate. You've lost control of the c6 square. This is an interesting move. Knight d7. Perhaps trying to play a Dragendorf type of thing. We'll do a6 later, and bishop e5 will I think this is the more aggressive approach. Try to call the question about the bishop on b5 being misplaced. Bishop d7 is the safer option. No, and actually, similar to a Vita Lynch variation, but white can't play queen e2 here because he drops a piece. So I guess bishop g5, knight f6 would transpose to this so-called Vita Lynch system. I've tried to play that with white. It's nothing special though. It's just bishop b5 doesn't really do anything particularly. The Latvian played it. But alright, bishop d7. And now which way do you recapture? Again, both are possible. This is a tough one. I mean, if you take with the knight, you keep the c-file open for your rook. I think there's a6, you play kind of Najdorf style. If you take with the queen, your queen is in a slightly unnatural place. It's kind of hard to shake that d5 square. You might have to play e6 later at some point. So I think it's easier to play knight takes d7. Alright, queen takes, castles. We actually got a game now, wow. Putzbach-Gerd against Hauke Redman. Hauke. Now we transpose to a bad version of the Vita Lynch variation, where white like exchanged on d7 for no reason. Now, interesting move, queen f3. Emery Tate style. I'll never forget when Emery played that against the Najdorf and De Fermian made a funny face. Just randomly playing queen f3 and the Sicilian is like generally not done against the dragon. Like, where's the queen going? Are we gonna go here? When Tate played it against De Fermian in a tournament game against De Fermian's Najdorf, the first thing De Fermian did was play g6. Queen f3 just doesn't really like have a forward path. You know, once black has a g6, what's he gonna go? Here? Where are you gonna go? Here? What is the queen gonna do on f3? Nothing special. Castles. And then this is just dropping a piece. Wow, good game, dude. So ask me, why didn't you like win a piece here? He spent 3 seconds on this move, not winning a piece. Exactly. There's no increment here, though. This is sudden death, so he can't afford to spend too much time. Excel poker. We can't afford to spend too much time, and we've got no increment, so yeah, knight takes d5, pawn takes d5, free knight. That's one problem with moving the queen off of d1. Yeah, Asterbate. Not only did you not win a piece, but you made like an unprincipled move in the process, which we've cautioned you like 100 times. Not, you are a brilliant guy, but you don't listen, or you listen but you don't remember, or you don't incorporate everything. Let's say you can't win a piece here. Then why don't you develop your pieces with like knight to c6? I'm just saying, like, besides like not winning a piece with knight to d5, you made an unprincipled move with knight to g4. You're not developing your pieces. You're moving your knight away from the center. Your knight is controlling central squares. You're moving your knight away from the center. Why is he moving his knight away from the center? You guys get this. He's attacking the knight on d4. It's so ridiculous, man. You can win the knight with knight takes d5. You actually like see that you're threatening the knight here. That was his plan, to play bishop takes d4. That's so sick, man. It's ridiculous. Now your knight's attacked, so you go back. Yeah, he's inducing weaknesses. No, his real plan was to induce weaknesses. Well, white has actually a reasonable move. I would probably go here. I think the queen is better probably on that square. This sometimes can be problematic in my experience in Sicilians. It's prone to getting attacked more than on e2. We're sort of trapped out of play. Knight c6, bc6, good move. Good move. Not taking with the knight, but taking with the b pawn, controlling the center. This is very fundamental. After knight c6, you play what? Knight e2. Yeah, white doesn't want to do this. White shouldn't want to do this. This is bad. Taking on c6 is almost... I think it's almost always bad in the Sicilian with white. To allow that pawn to capture there. Black has the b file. Control of the d5 square. Excel poker is like, okay, knight e2. Yeah, you lose the tempo, sort of, but you keep control of the d5 square. Uber driver. Nice badge you got there. Alyakin said on every move of the game, examine all captures and checks. Astrobate hasn't used that quote yet. Astrobate better do some research on his Alyakin quotes. So this is already still better for black. Nice to see you, Uber driver. And he just like gives you a piece. Wow. Thank you for the free knight. Basically, white was teaching us how not to play chess in this game. And black was doing a little bit of that himself. When down a piece, we don't want to trade pieces. I think it's kind of disturbing that white is 1727 in classical. I mean, Astrobate's bad enough, man. He's 1710 and playing the whole game in 1 minute. But it's amazing that white is like just dropping pieces. Okay, you know. What about this position? You should take the pawn on b2, obviously. Not only winning a pawn, but destroying white's pawn structure. Basically, Astrobate plays 1 minute chess in his 30-minute games. I'm not quite sure what the point of that is. There goes another rubber tree plant. We've got a clear target on f2 now. And white's last hope. I don't know, Astrobate, we need a little more quality control with these submissions for Thursday. Oh. Damn. Rook a5. That's something we don't see. Generally speaking, he doesn't just like hang pieces. His opponents usually hang pieces. So this was a comeback story. Yeah, I kind of like your compensation here after queen takes e4. You're down the exchange, but I don't know, man. After that h4, white's kingside is pretty weakened, and the bishop on c5 holds the pawn. I think it's very hard for white to win here. And g3, Well, g3 is probably necessary. But I don't envy White's having to win this position. I think even on the Grandmaster level, winning this is very hard. White has no pass pawn. Black's got a very strong blockade. Not sure if White can win. Now, Black definitely is fine. I would say like no losing chances. Oof. Wow. Check. Here. That's a lot of pawns. Oh man. And there's no way to control the h3 square. It's just over immediately. Wow, he has to sack his rook. That explains your progress, Uber Driver. That's all it took for Uber Driver to get to A player. He's systematic. Kind of proud of Asterby for playing this move though, even though objectively it's not the fastest. His opponent actually thought to not trade queens. Yeah, I mean, I guess you shouldn't trade queens at this point. 3 connected passed pawns. Keep them together, man. It's the buddy system. Let's see if he does this well. I want to keep these pawns together and advance them together with my king and my rook. All of it is like functioning as like one unit. G5, probably best move. And we go up with king G6. Keep everybody together. Buddy system. Acerbate. This isn't optimal. They're getting stretched out, and ahead. One guy's getting ahead of the others. Everybody stays together. It's like, you know, holding hands when you're in kindergarten. If everybody stays together, you know, no one gets hurt. But here, if we lose the G pawn, man, if we lose the middle pawn, it's a draw. You know, it's interesting, Acerbate. If you lose the F pawn, you're still winning. If you lose the H pawn, you're still winning. If you lose the G pawn, it's a theoretical draw. The central one. So if you know, be careful, don't lose that pawn. You want the rook with maximum checking distance. So what Uber Driver is saying is like here, you know, probably rook A3 where it won't be attacked at some inconvenient moment. Yeah, so now you're not getting your king in the game. We should play king G6. So your pawns are a little strung out there. You're still winning, but there's, you know, it's a matter of principle. You're lucky you have 3 pawns here. 2 should be enough to win. There you go. Everybody's together. Yeah, that's an interesting move. Alright, I think it's a little over the top now. Stalemate. See, this is bad, man. Uber Driver's telling you, you want the rook to be far away. Stalemate. Mate. Alright, man. That was instructive. So I'm waiting on Juicebox to maybe show up. I've got Move 11, Pavel Nefedov, XL Poker, My Game. Did I forget anyone? We can do the Juicebox game though. It's very likely he's not coming. I mean, it's late in Asia. So I just want to verify which color he was here. Dude, where is the game? Huh. Where's Viking Beer? It's not Juicebox. That's his other account. Okay, Viking Beer, sorry. Juicebox Wizard won by checkmate. FakeChess.com. Juicebox versus Ahmad. Alright. Why am I not synced in my own study again? Who's doing that? Not syncing. Wake. I'm wake. That's like when you're white and you're woke. You're wake. I'm wake. White plays the dragon in this game. Yeah, I guess Juicebox has played the English against me in the past. C4, E5, knight C3, D6. I mean, D6 isn't considered a great... It's not considered really like a great move order. I knew this player who used to play like knight C6, bishop E6. It's an unusual system. Somewhat on Sound, one of our other regular viewers is playing this type of stuff. And I know with white, actually. You can also do it with colors reversed. There's also, you know, F5. Grand Prix attack style. Okay. So G3 C5 was played. You know, that setup is okay in general. It would be like a Botvinnik variation. But the move order is a little funky. Wow. Karpov actually played this in 1987. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some move that Wei could play here to take advantage of the funky move order, but Wei played bishop g2 in every game. You know, the only thing I think of would be like b4. Possibly, not really. If b4 black just takes. I mean, you could play it like a wing gambit. You're playing the wing gambit of the Sicilian. Pawn takes pawn here. It's a bit over the top. But the wing gambit style play actually works against the Botvinnik system. Black doesn't have to take either, though. Black could just, you know, deal with it. What's the point of c5? Black's gonna transpose to the Botvinnik setup. You know, knight c6, g6, bishop g7. It doesn't have any independent value. Giving up to d5 square. I mean, I've always like not really liked the Botvinnik setup necessarily as well, but yeah, space is space. It's playable. So bishop g2, knight c6. So this is interesting now. There's several different ways to play. I think it's relevant here that black hasn't played g6 yet. There's an argument for a3. That's what Kasparov played against Karpov. No, it's probably better to do a3 right away because you actually have a threat of maybe b4. I'm surprised that no one here played a5. I had the same game with Jonathan Grant in the World Senior, except Grant was like white, and when I did a6, he played a4 to stop b5, which I think is probably the best thing to do. But the difference was that Grant had played g3, and it was like a tempo up, and you know, white's already committed to g3. In this case, what would be g6? It's a little different. But I still, you know, I would think with black, like, you want to consider this move very seriously. If you don't play it, white can play b4. I'm curious what happened in Kasparov-Karpov. I wonder what, I mean, Kasparov played e3 now. But I mean, couldn't he play b4? Oh, he did. Oh, I take it back. See, Kasparov played b4. He beat Karpov. This was 87. Yeah, I mean, this is the most decisive. Kasparov's like coach was Botvinnik, so this is the most decisive way to play. You're not even taking time to play d3 Excel poker, but you will in the future. This is the best try. So Juicebox just played e3. I mean, e3 is like a standard move. We're gonna transpose. We're gonna transpose to an absolute standard position here. Normally black does g6, but it's not the only setup. I've seen other stuff. f5, bishop e7. Okay. Now the first question is here. Is this or is this not a threat? Because I've seen some weird stuff. Playing the English, where like you can maybe sacrifice that pawn. Like there could be a strong answer in like queen a4 or something. Traps and whatnot. Just does d4. Wow. d4 might be too much, but it's something you should consider. Yeah, I mean, if d4, I think that black would take. White would recapture. And the idea for black would be like this. You know, I don't know. This is also possible. That's unclear. I agree. You know, d4, what? Karpov recently bumped his head. Oh. No, that never happened. According to TASS. Nothing happened, nothing to see here. Bishop e6. So Juicebox, you know, the standard move is like d3. You can also play knight d5. It's not necessary. I would think this is our standard move. But it might not be necessary. You could maybe play this on bishop c4. Do you have some kind of nasty tactic? What happens now? Bishop e6. Now you're talking about maybe d4? I'm not sure if it works. It's interesting stuff. Yeah, I mean, I don't think bishop e2 is that clear. Bishop e2. Get out of here. Bishop e2? You sure? You sure you like this position? I don't know about bishop e2, man. I don't think that's the answer. But anyways, alright. So, Juicebox was replayed queen b3. It's funny that like both games where this happened, both players play knight d5, but to me this is like, it's like, I don't know, executing, you know, the threat is stronger than execution. You're better off not occupying d5 if you don't have to. Just keep the threat alive. Plus it's like not developing. d3 is safe. This is a bit awkward. It's not a terrible move though. I mean, he's starting b7. I saw Naj Gabor do this in a similar position tournament we played a few months ago. Yeah, it's unusual. It's unusual to put the queen on b3. It's a little awkward. Naj Gabor did it in some position where his opponent, you know, was being restricted from playing d5. It's a move. It doesn't really look right. I mean, you're in the way of your b pawn. And black should be able to meet it with rook b8 or some other natural move. Queen d7, rook b8. Yeah, I think the queen is misplaced here. So it's not necessary. It's not optimal for white to play queen b3, but it's not terrible. You clamp down on d5, which is really the key square. We're not letting that go. Black blundered now with knight f6. Yeah, he has to defend b7, but fortunately he has a couple of good ways to do it. This is fine, I think. I think. But this looks a bit more natural because of this. I mean, both are kind of natural. Getting the rook off the diagonal. Black could also play this, but that looks a little shaky. So, alright. Blunder, take. Juicebox said it was a bad game. No, he was right. And now, Black is in trouble. It's a curious position, though. Almost have this. But after queen takes check, bishop d7, queen a6. You can't trap the white queen. Knight a5 drops a piece. So it looks like you have to go here, give up that rook to get the other rook. Probably that's the best chance. The only chance. The only chance for black is knight b4, threatening the counterattack here. But in any case, like, white is at least a pawn up. At the very minimum, a clear pawn up, and the knight might even get trapped in the corner. So I would think like white is winning. I mean, I assume trade, take, and then b3, and the knight is probably not getting out. So black's gonna lose. This doesn't help. Game over. It's a nice king position he's got there. Knight g5 is got to be stopped, I guess. h6 would be the only move to continue the game. I think that king is in a world of hurt here. So do we consider maybe h4 something to keep him contained? e4 check doesn't work. Maybe h4. But white just plays knight takes f6, trading pieces. And then a counterattack. Take the queen, take that. This is totally... Yeah, I wouldn't let his king come in here, but I think you ought to play like king e2. Looks like you're probably close to mating him. Yeah, this wasn't a good game. Knight takes d6 check, king f3. Oh my god. That's alright. Yeah, I gotta use the king. Yeah, this should be about checkmate. You know, we should be checkmating the black king here. Juicebox just isn't really like doing that. He's not playing for mate. He's more like playing for the material. Attrition. It's a battle of attrition. He dropped a lot of pieces in the process. Finally, one of them broke through. Oh man. Alright. Yeah, that wasn't pretty. Okay, now on to serious game. We've got Move 11 versus Sabo Gergo. This is from the World Chess Network. And I don't know when, 2006? So Move 11 must have been pretty low rated. I played Sabo Gergo in First Saturday pretty early on, like around 2004. I think we played in a GM tournament in Budapest somewhere around 2004, 2005, and he was already Yeah, yeah, he's a GM now. He's been a GM for years. But when we played in 2004, 2005, he's a Hungarian from Transylvania. Like uh, like Tranquilizer. You know, he's one of the strongest Transylvanian players. I I don't know. You know, I think he was still in IM around this time when he probably got his GM title in the early to mid 2000s. But needless to say, Move 11 was an amateur and playing white here, and black is like 2400 plus. C5, knight f3. This was played on the old site, World Chess Network. So is this right? Move 11 was white. Okay. You don't remember the time control. You know, the weird thing was, I I remember Sabo Gergo playing the classical Sicilian, I thought. He used to play the black side of the Richter Rouser. Yeah, inexplicable blunders. I saw something funky in this game. Um, I didn't. I don't remember him playing the Neidorf. I remember him playing the Richter Rouser with black. Because we both did. I thought he played the classical Sicilian. Maybe I'm mixing him with someone else. Actually, there was another Romanian player at that time. I think I'm actually getting them confused. Most likely, I'm mixing him with Moreru now because they both played in the first Saturday around the same time. So, actually, I'm not even sure when I played him. Might have even been earlier than I said, but alright. He was probably already a GM by this point. A6. Maybe he doesn't play the classical. Maybe he does play the Neidorf. I don't know. Bishop c4, e6. Actually, I don't even remember what our game was. We had a game like long ago that it was a draw, and I think like I lost to him recently, like 5 years ago in Zalakarosh on the black side of a Nimzo. Um, so he plays like d4 with white. Well, actually he plays both. I think d4 and e4. Bishop b3, b5. This is a main line. Sozin, Neidorf, Sozin, castles. So in that position, you can also play like. Speaking of queen f3, you can play queen f3 right away, but this is the most common move. Castles, bishop e7, and then now you're supposed to play queen f3. But move 11 was playing. This is long ago. What was your like strength back then? At this time, I did some videos on f4, but I know that it's not great. The only reliable move here is queen f3. You were like 1250 at this time. I feel like I played bishop e3 once. Is b4 a move here? New games. Well, this is like a blitz game. Yeah, I mean, like, people... This is just kind of gross, you know? Like, who does that? This is like white is no plan. There's just like no plan. A4 would be the only plan, pretty much. I don't understand this for white. Like, you have to do f4. It's like f4 or nothing here. But the problem is, like, is black taking the pawn after f4, b4? Do we have compensation for this pawn? David Bronstein versus Korchnoi. Knight takes e4, f5. Mike Valvo, another Fischer clone, passed away years ago. This is Fischer Tal? I'm not sure. I don't trust your memory. Fischer Tal was definitely like similar. I'm not sure it's the exact same position. It might be. White has a really bad score here. Not a single win. F5, D5. Yeah, that's just a variation. So move 11 plays F4. Black doesn't play B4. He plays Bishop B7. Allowing a possible, sacrifice on E6. This is rarely good. Interestingly, if you did this is probably fine for black. Black could also play B4. I guess there's no reason to do that, though. I mean, this type of sacrifice is usually good for black. Yeah, Fischer Tal was different. I thought so, but I wasn't sure. I would believe almost anything. Yeah, B4. Bronstein Korchnoi. Kaidanov Defermian 1994. Well, Defermian knows his stuff. I mean, Defermian would be familiar with playing the right line here. B4, Knight A4. I had a game similar to this once. You gotta watch the B6 square. But it's reasonable. Bishop B7. Again, this probably doesn't work, right? Takes. You raise an interesting point, though, that if B4 we have Bishop D5. That is a nasty. That's a nasty surprise. If you sack on E6, you have to take it, and then knight takes, probably queen here. And I would think like typically this is bad for white. Usually, this bishop's just too strong, and white doesn't get enough compensation. Yeah, it's like plus 1 point, plus 2, almost plus 2 for black. So you just can't sack there. It's not a thing. So E5, and you're following some games. A bunch of random games. Velimirovich, of course, famed for the Velimirovich attack. Yeah, this is like similar to some like real lines in the Najdorf, but not a real critical variation. It looks like black should be fine. F takes C5, and then the question is, this is more active, what he did, but oftentimes black can go here. Who played this well? Uber driver knows Bill Kelleher. Bill used to play the Sozin. I remember one time he beat Kaidanov. There was a rook f7. This is extremely dangerous. For example, if I've played some games like this with white. I mean, queen h5 is a move. Yeah. Yeah, it's similar to some known lines, but not quite the same. It looks like Sabo Gergo played safely, though. I mean, knight d5 is a safe move. Knight d5, bishop d5, but I think move 11... What's inspiring is that move 11 played like Velimirovich as a 1200. Velimirovich has left the building. Queen g4, threatening bishop h6. Black can always play king h8. Black drew in this game with bishop c5. Yeah, well, that's what happened in the game. Bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, and move 11 played knight f5. This apparently happened back in 1983. Some 23 years before this online game was played. Interesting. And in this tournament game, Black played knight c6, just developing a piece. Principled, solid move. But Black's structure is no better than White's here. There's no way for White to avoid the ending after that. This move looks like a little more passive. It feels like White could have some kind of crushing sacrifice here. I wouldn't be like that surprising. If White had a pretty serious advantage. But I didn't see anything clear. You missed a shot here. Okay, I didn't check this, with an engine or anything. Yeah, knight h6 is interesting, but it doesn't feel right. Maybe it's good. Knight h6. Takes, bishop takes, king h8. Takes, bishop takes, king h8. Queen f3. Oh. Yeah, I mean, like, earlier Uber Driver was saying, like, you should examine all captures and checks. Obviously, knight h7 is. I love it, Asterbate. Of course, knight g7. Examine all captures and checks. Knight g7 is a move. I mean, even after knight d6, like, white is probably not worse. The problem with knight g7 is, like, it's not that forcing. And I also don't know if we really have a strong follow-up. Check. King h8. Bishop h6. Rook g8. We have a slight problem here. Just a minor problem. Just a minor issue. Yeah, so the knight h6 check takes really pretty much the same thing. Queen g4, king h8, bishop h6, rook g8. I'm not seeing it. There's also this check on c5. I'm not seeing anything there, so I think the Uber Driver suggestion of hitting that queen is really interesting. Because if you trade queens, we take this with check, king moves, and the knight isn't really trapped, it can be defended. Oh, that's 6L Poker's move. My bad. It's deflecting the queen on b7. Black could move the queen again, but now the attack is a little stronger. No, actually, you can't. Wow, does that just win? Mm-hmm. So there's no defense. Wow, queen f3 just like wins a piece. Right, right. This is the point. Yeah, it looks like it's a knockout. I didn't see it running over the game the first time either. Because you're looking at the other stuff. You're looking more directly around the black king. That's why it's easy to miss queen f3. It's not really a move about like attacking his king necessarily. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's why this guy played knight c6. Black will hold there. He's probably fine. It looks like after knight f5, knight c6, white has to trade queens. And the ending is... it's like equal. I mean, is white better here? Rook d1. This is the game. I'm not sure which rook. And then white played rook f2. But I'm honestly like kind of interested in this. I mean, isn't that a little awkward for black? I'm just saying. Maybe not enough to win. Anyway, move 11, interesting game. So, Sabo Gergo blundering with queen b7, we miss it. And you went into this, and you don't have enough, like, attacking force. Still, white might be better. But I want to play, like, rook f6. That's not going to work. Bishop g5, something. Looks like our direct attacks don't really work. And the strange thing happens a little later on. You played queen f3. He's hitting your pawn. You played queen g3, defending your pawn, threatening bishop h6 maybe. Then he plays this. So that on bishop h6 we can play g6, and you just obliged him. And then a weird thing happens. It was like bishop g5, queen c5 check, king h1, queen takes e5. Now, what I'm wondering was, on the next move, I don't know if Gergo was a GM yet, but he was already a very strong player at least, and I am. Did he intentionally not take your bishop because he was concerned about like rook takes f7? Is what I want to know. So on bishop h6, you have a suggestion? Oh yes, check immediately. Check immediately. Maybe rook f2? Yeah. Oh. XL Poker is like a tactical jigsaw. Yeah, it's a blitz game. He missed it. What I was wondering was this. In this position, you played queen h3 and he didn't take your bishop on g5. Was he, like, seriously concerned about this? Nah. Black could just play, like, knight f8, right? He just missed it. It was like you were moving fast and probably black was in time pressure. It must have been a blitz game. Because I just thought, like, the only explanation, you know, you're afraid of rook f7. But that doesn't even come close to working. I mean, black can go here. Actually, this almost feels like it almost works. Check. We got nothing. Yeah. Yeah, it was just a blitz game. He didn't take the bishop. Now white just gets picked apart. Now you sacrifice. You got bishop f6, queen a3, queen h6, queen f8. Oh. You need your rook on f3 and that still wouldn't work. And it's just a technical ending. Yeah, I think if I was black, I wouldn't necessarily play f5 here. Don't really want to play f5. He weakened his position massively by playing f5. That's completely unnecessary. Obviously, it was time pressure situation. That's a really, really reckless move by black. But even so, like, rook d6 is still okay. It must have been a really bad time situation. Maybe black is still winning somehow. Well, I guess that's a stupid question. Yeah. Alright. Yeah, it's a blitz game. I mean, it's a fast blitz game. Okay, why do I have XL Poker twice? It's weird. Alright. You want to do XL Poker game? We'll save Nefedov for next since he's not here. We'll let XL Poker go early. So this is an online game, right? Yeah. 30 minutes game. I thought there was like a player with your opponent's name, like Rob Hartung or something. Like an IM. Nefedov says, hello, I'm here, but who cares? Oh, you're here. Damn it, Nefedov's here. What's up? You're so quiet, though. Alright, let's do Nefedov. I care. We all care, man. But you're so quiet, we didn't know you were here. Why didn't you announce yourself? Say hello. Have a beer. We all care. We deeply care. Nefedov is in the house. Alright. Chess Zebra, welcome. Alright, we got notification. Spassky has followed. As well as Vincible Dinah. Mama who? This is the dreaded Nefedov 4 pawns attack. Nefedov submitted a league game from the UK. What I wondered Nefedov was, is it like, do these games are these games like people capable of actually preparing for who they're gonna play? Like, does your opponent, know he's playing you before the game, and if so, do they actually have typically like preparation? I like the 4 pawns attack against Alyakin. I think it's good. My only concern would be if the opponent specifically knows exactly what you're going to play. Sometimes it can be bad. Although I don't have a solution for the 4 pawns attack of Alyakin. My latest attempt. We'll see. I think that black has problems in this opening. I think it's weird. I mean, I always thought like I had this impression that the four pawns attack was considered not like necessarily the best line against Alekhine, but you know, when you saw like the top players play the white side of Alekhine, it wasn't that common. It's not common, of course, but amongst those top level games that you did see, you know, you just don't remember. I guess it's just too rare, you know, honestly, to really make a judgment on it, but you always got the impression like the four pawns attack wasn't necessarily like a critical test. It should be like asking too much or something. But it looks like black has a hard time, you know. It looks like the four pawns attack is really problematic. But I like g6. Still the score is bad. Alright. So he plays like the main move. Takes. Knight c6. This is the main line. You messed up the opening. That was in the 70s, Uber Driver. Uber Driver's still playing the white side of Alekhine like Bobby Fischer. He's playing the white side of the Alekhine according to like Fischer games from what was that? What was the programmer of Deep Blue who was at Carnegie Mellon? The name is escaping me now. Berliner, right? Fischer Berliner from my 60 Memorable Games. Yeah. Uber Driver is still playing like game, you know, variations from the 70s. Yeah, I talked about that move 11, the Robson game. It was in this line. Knight c3, e6, bishop e2, bishop e7. Isn't it this variation? Knight f3, castles. Oh. Yeah, it's here. Robson versus Naroditsky. Yeah, I think the dude's out of his mind. Like, Naroditsky's out of his mind to play the Alekhine against someone as good as Robson in the U.S. Championship. That's just stupid, man. That's like burning your rating points. Just flush your rating points down the toilet. You're going to play the Alekhine's defense in the U.S. Championship against a 26-69 player? That's honestly, like, just rating point, like, you know, destruction. Looks like there's an earlier game, Zhang versus Duda. It's a bad line for black. So I don't really have a fix for this. Castles, f6. It's just bad. I mean, it's just bad. You just have a bad structure and a weak pawn on e6. It's so easy to play for white. It's ridiculous. It's just bad. I mean, black has to come up with something better. Oh, queen d7, right? Wait. There's this, like, there's bishop g4. Hikaru has played that. There's Kovacevic versus Hikaru from 2008. Yeah, it also doesn't work. This isn't good enough either. I was going to suggest maybe queen d7. But I mean, castling queenside is never safe for black. Winning chances? Higher than 0. Black's winning chances, but not good. The better your winning chances, the weaker your opponent with white. Your winning chances against the 1500 are quite good. Winning chances against the Grandmaster are almost 0. No, it's just not good for black. You know, that's why I'm playing like g6 here. I think this is objectively a little bit better. Knight b4 isn't that good, Uber driver. You're still back in the 70s. That's like what, you know, that's just an old line. I mean, it's still played, but it's not good enough. Dude, this is not good. Alright, bishop f5. Nefedov messes up and plays knight f3. Now, I don't know about this position. Maybe knight b4 is playable here. It's a good question, though. Can you go here now? Yeah, if Nefedov has to play knight a3, he messed up. So I think that black should go ahead and play that knight b4. Actually. Why not? If you can force this face sitter, what do we call it? A face hugger? Knight b4, knight a3. The knight on b4. I forgot my alien terminology, sorry. That's embarrassing. Yeah, Nefedov is weird. He made a mistake. He was probably tired. Imagine that people have played a3 here. That's ridiculous. No, knight c3. Yeah, that's the point. If knight b4, what's the problem? So now black could have played knight b4. Doesn't do it. He does e6. It's still good. And now Nefedov, yeah, what were you thinking? You're so good normally. Unbelievable. Nefedov was in a bad mood or something. So what's the problem if knight c3? Oh, I see. So we're back into some kind of line, but it's not quite as good for white. This is more reasonable, though. Here you can play knight b4. What's the deal with this? And c5, you get it in. That tempo makes a big difference. An Agzimov game from 1982. Agzimov was like, he's one of the best Alekhine players from back in the day. He like invented like an entire variation with black with c5. Nah, but this is just Nefedov messing up the move order. Now the question is what the best move is. Bishop d3 is definitely a mistake. Why is it so bad? Probably Nefedov's asking himself that question. Is it knight takes e5? He has a tactic? Some kind of knight takes e5? Check on h4? Optically, it doesn't look that bad. We're trading like our opponent's bad bishop off. I was just wondering if there's some sort of weird tactic here with the queen coming to h4, but there's nothing like that. Do you like bishop g4? But I mean, wait, is bishop e4? Are you sure? Why can't... Oh, because c4 is falling. Yeah. Wow, this actually happened in 3 games. That's insane. So you can't go here because of the c4 pawn. I guess. But, you know, even that's, like, not 100%. Not 100% clear. Because of some kind of crazy variations like this. Like, seriously. Just for sake of argument. I want to see this. What is that? We're just busted? Because he has king d7? That's pretty funny. Looks like white's lost. There's no perpetual check. So you can't give up the c-pawn. But I mean, do we have to move the bishop? Are you sure? Why can't you play like knight on bd2 or something? I don't understand. Can't you go here? Now knight e5 works? Yes. It's so weird looking at it from the white side. I never play this with white. Either way, you can't take on e5. I mean, Nefedov not going to allow that. So he plays bishop e2. But the shocking thing is that white has won all 3 games here. My wonderful opponent from the World Senior Championship, Alessio DeSantis, was kind of like rude after the game. I mean, I realize like he was disappointed, but not a really friendly guy. I don't like his name anyway. Alright, bishop e2. No, I mean, it doesn't matter, man. We can take with a pawn here. It's fine. Yeah, this is what our hero did. But I mean, honestly, did Black do something wrong? Is this the best he can get? Bishop d3. Are you sure bishop g4 is the best move here? Keep feeling like there's something else. Knight takes e5. There's nothing there. There is check. I mean, someone mentioned that. Yeah, but I'm not convinced this does anything. I mean, it just gives white a chance to play king e2. I mean, look at the center. Even in this kind of scenario, I still think that white is fine. Even with his king, like, chilling on e2. I mean, that's still worth something. The engine calls it slightly better for white. So it's not really convincing. I feel like Black has something else here. Maybe he can pile up. What's up with this? No tactics. Knight d4. Here. What about like knight b4 and c5? Can we try to blow up the center? No, it's bishop g4 according to the engine. Nefedov could play a variety of moves here. Knight on bd2, c5. Yeah, this is just striking to me. Bishop takes f3. G takes f3. Queen h4 check. Bishop f2. Queen f4. So DeSantis' opponent played queen h3 here. To be honest, though, I don't think this is that clear. This is not that easy for Black. But this move makes sense to try to get in here. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It doesn't seem that bad for white. The computer thinks it's like terrible for white either way. I mean, there's a lot of questions here. Another question is like, is this out of the question to go here? I mean, I realize that black has perpetual. Actually, he doesn't. Is king f1 really not playable? We're triple attacked. I guess it isn't. You just triple up on the d-pawn. Okay. There's no way to defend that. No, this is really bad. So you gotta play bishop f2. Queen f4. Black's improving. And now you have time to defend your d-pawn. I mean, white can still castle. Remember. Castle queenside. And the center looks rickety. But I'm not... I mean, black's got threats of takes. The main threat is probably like take and c5. If black can destroy the center, black is better. So Nefedov would really like to find a way to bail out here, and if only I could like swap queens or something. Right. Perfect Alekhine strategy. Nefedov is like positional player, but he would probably play this if he could, but it just falls. So it's hard to come up with a move. Black's threatening knight takes d4. So he played, knight e4, which looks like super dangerous. I mean, the point is, if knight e4, knight takes c5, bishop g3... Lasker. Get out of here with your Lasker. Lasker never had this position in his life. Alright, knight e4. Knight e4. I don't know, is there an alternative? Yeah, rook g1. Actually, rook g1 is an interesting move, but it drops h2. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not buying it. Well, I mean, it's definitely, plausible. Another interesting move. A4 is out of the question. No, Nefedov's move seems reasonable, but it doesn't develop any pieces. What if black just executes the original plan? Like knight takes d4. Let's just ask the obvious question. Knight d4, bishop d4, c5. Simple. Simple question, simple answer. Right? Knight d4, knight d6. Huh. Yeah. Doesn't work. I mean, I guess you could play this. It looks pretty bad. Let's see. Takes, rook takes, bishop g3. Knight takes f3 check. I don't know. It doesn't work. I'm sure it doesn't work. Yeah, this was the critical moment. Nefedov's opponent, should be always focused on destroying the center. And he just like routinely played bishop b4 check. White's king is safe on the light square. The question is knight takes d4. Does he still have it? Why? I like the knight. Everybody's getting in on knight d6 now. What's the difference now versus before? Knight d6, whatever. I still don't buy that. The question is like capture c5. We have an in-between move of some sort. Nothing special. There's no bishop b4 check in this line, so what's that? I mean, what's happening here? Does white have a move or not? Knight d6 check? Is that your point? Now you have knight d6 check. I assume this is relevant. Are we winning the exchange now? Well, we have to take. And the white takes. And white is like winning the exchange. Right. No, but if the problem is if he does it now, you have this. Bishop takes d4. c5, knight d6 check. Now it's an exchange sack for black. I mean, it might be playable, but it is a sacrifice. You know, I don't know if he has enough compensation or not. That's not clear at all. You know, in fact, like, I would probably rather be white here. No, computer still likes black, but whatever. You know, you have a fighting chance in this position. Whereas, like, I think on the previous move it was really strong. It's not nearly as strong as it was. So he plays f5. Even if the computer, I still think that white has, that's a complicated position. It wouldn't have been that easy for him. For a computer or whatever. I guess f6 is a little slow. Yeah, I guess he should still do it. Sorry. Yeah, true enough, he should probably still do it. Now f5. Do we have well, we just take, obviously. Now white has time. I don't really like this diagonal either. The bishop g3 thing. Like, what happens if bishop g3? I'm just saying, like, I would take a draw if I could get one here with white. Like, I understand why you ended up, like, drawing the game because you were worse. If you could force a draw, I would force a draw. Your king is still not safe. But you can't force a draw. I mean, he can go back to, like, h6. Yeah, the bishop on b4 has issues with getting trapped too. Chazibra, you're right. That's definitely a variation, in particular with the pawn on c5. I mean, that's a theme. Yeah, I didn't even get into that, but that is true. That's a good point about lines where black's playing c5. I'm just wondering what Nefedov should do here. He's got a nice center. He found a way to play queen b3, and it was smart. Queen b3 like prevents black from splattering his center. It gets out of the pin. You know, so on the surface, like, this looks like a good move. Because you have time to play like rook d1 now. I mean, I don't know if it's good if it's enough to get white out of trouble, but it's definitely logical. Black. I'm guessing black can't do this. I would assume. But maybe it's a move. Jeez. Is this a move? Alright. Bishop takes d4, rook takes d4. Queen takes b4, rook takes e4. So I'm not really liking that. And if you go here, he has knight c2, and you don't have this. So we're going to need a move now. You might have one, though. There's a rather nasty theme. Queen c5, knight takes a1, bishop g3. Check. That's the exact position. Rook g1. And he actually did that. Tarash tossed him bishop b4. Okay. This actually looks good. You're winning if he goes in this line. Wow. He has a move here. Knight f3 or even knight e2. So this is totally crazy, but it's okay for Nefedov. If he takes on d4. That's not a problem, but there seems to be another problem. Queen b3, a5. So queen b3 isn't enough. You gotta find a better move. You're just in a lot of trouble, but maybe you can hang on. c5. Wow. c5, knight d5. Now the bishop's trapped. There's some crazy lines. Queen c1, trading queens. f5. Queen c1. This is nuts. Knight c3. Queen c1. You're just happy to get the queens off the board there. Get the queens off the board and your king is relatively safe. Yeah, this is a tempting move. He's also got his eye on e6. So black here has to find a strong move, though. It looks like a5. Surprisingly, even bishop e7 is good. Man, I really thought like you'd be okay here. Wow. But f5 is just going to take you apart anyway. Unbelievable. So like rook d1, f5. You can't maintain your center. It'll be a triple attack. The knight, the queen, and the rook. If it falls apart, you die. Yeah, I mean this is a good wake up call for Nefedov, because I mean playing the 4 pawns attack is not, it's not like, you know, easy. Obviously takes a lot of energy to play the 4 pawns attack. You gotta play accurately. If you're not feeling well or something like that, Pavel, I don't think you should play it, you know. It's the kind of variation that requires, obviously, like, intense concentration and accuracy. Definitely, like, have another variation to play if you're not really feeling like a big fight. F5. So d4 is falling. We're threatening this. It's hard to believe that black has to play queen h6, my god. Pretty hard to attack the white king here. You do have knight takes d4, attacking the queen. Knight takes d4, bishop takes d4, but this fork falls. And the white king is totally safe on the light square. Okay, he's attacking h3. I get it. I get it. This is not a defensive move. He's attacking h3, h4. But white has maintained those pawns. I think what black doesn't appreciate here is the fundamentals of the situation. The fight has really been about the center, and it always should be. This is almost like he got tempted into this sort of cheapo down here, also incidentally defending e6. But the key of the position remains that like black takes pressure off of d4, which has been so like thematic in this whole game. By playing queen h6, he takes the pressure off of d4, and now Nefedov's center can like live to protect his king. I feel like the whole game hinges on that. You know, now white is suddenly still alive if we can't destroy the d4 pawn. Knight takes d4, queen takes b4. Knight takes b4, rook takes. Knight takes, bishop takes, rook takes, queen takes b4. So he has to do something. What about bishop takes knight? What's up with this? I mean, these bishops are nice, but the problem is the knight on b6 sucks. This is a freaking disaster, man. Your only square is that, and this is guarded. Black has like no immediate threats. Maybe black's okay here, but it's not that clear. Yeah, knight a8. Emery, where are you? Yeah, wow. So suddenly, like, the thing is very tricky. What about other moves? What else can black do? Does this, but there's no immediate threat. Nefedov secures the center. Now he takes here. What's up here? Why did you take with the bishop? Not to get hit by rook d8. Yeah, man, I mean, we're lucky. The more pieces we trade, the safer our king is. Yeah, I mean, Nefedov played a very, very crazy move here, queen a4. There's no way in a million years I would play this move. It just looks like our king is in danger. I would be like going here, trying to protect or trade queens. Still, this looks nasty though. He's also on b2. I don't know what to suggest actually. Trading rooks. Actually, let's trade rooks. His rook is active, ours is not. Why don't you just play rook g1? You like exchanges, Nefedov? What's the problem here? You're still worse, probably. But you're hanging in there. There's this invasive move. But I still think we're hanging in there. We're not down any material. Possible we even win the ending with the bishop pair if black doesn't play actively. Your rook is doing nothing on h1. This looks totally out of play, and I'm pretty scared black's going to get in here on us. And that's a blunder. Wow. Well, hard to criticize queen d2, honestly. It's a pretty hard move to criticize. Nefedov woke up, smelled the coffee, he played queen c2. And then was able to correct his earlier mistake. Yeah, but this wasn't a boring draw. I mean, black didn't really play badly. Yeah, that was a scary game, man. That was lucky you didn't lose. I don't know about the final position, though. It looks like it might be one of the situations where we have to take the draw. I still don't trust your position. I don't think that black is a stronger player than you, but after an event like that, you know, you're not feeling very confident. Usually, I might take the draw here as well. Objectively, you're probably still worse with that rook on h1, your king exposed. The d4 square is still under black's control. I mean, basically, black has good control of the center. If you look at all the control of the center, black still has superior control of the center. Not by a lot, but somewhat. I think it feels like black's still in command here. Alright, good game. Not perfect, but interesting. So we got Excel Poker. Excel Poker playing white. This is an online game, 30 minutes. Alright, let's flip the board. No, this is black. Excel Poker with black. Okay. Thanks, Nefedov. G3. I hate playing against this. I've played like the bishop before check a lot. Okay, so now mainline Catalan. Nefedov obviously not happy with messing up the opening. He would never do that. He would never do that against me. Must be early in the morning or something. I hate playing these team games that are like in the morning. Actually, Nefedov, didn't you say you were playing yesterday? Are you still out there? Alright, what is this Queen A4 check business? That's a move. Normally, castles. You know what I find annoying is like castles. This Schieber Spieler, isn't this a move? No. I'm thinking of a different line. Okay. The castles are the main line. White castles, and then you play d takes c4. So it's actually you going off script here with the early d takes c4. But usually white will transpose. I mean, you can play b5, right? If castles, you can't play b5 here. See, I keep getting this confused with like with the move later or whatever. I don't know what this is. There's like no games. Obviously your opponent was like, how did you do? Do we want to ask that question? I doubt Queen A4 is a serious problem. But maybe, yeah. Maybe. It's a drawback of doing d takes c4. I mean, I doubt it's like threatening, but Queen A4 is never good. It looks like Excel Poker should definitely castle first. No, it's playable. It's not a critical test, but look at the score. It does have a very solid score for white, like almost no losses. So here you have options. You have like 3 different variations you could play. Basically, you know, this is like a semi-Slav type of thing with b5. In that type of situation, though, I don't know if you're like, yeah, move order is right. This is standard. Bishop d7, yes. Of course, Uber driver suggests like the Fort Knox style approach after bishop c6. That's very solid. Similar to the modern variations with a4, except White hasn't played a4, so it's not quite as committal. But Excel Poker played knight on bd7. Now here, I would guess you're going to do a6 and b5 if you can do it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do we do? Are we playing c5? Are we trying to do like a6 and b5? Is that even a thing? Then why is Putin still the president of Russia? I don't know about that theory, Uber driver. I think maybe that applied. That maybe applied during the Cold War, but not anymore. All right. Political jokes aside, knight on bd7. The world hasn't seen a good like military coup in a long time. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? All right, knight on bd7, queen takes c4. Yeah, this is the question. Do you just go with c5? It just feels kind of passive for black. You're not in a good place when you're following Blatny's opening prep. No, a6 seems like the normal thing to do. Obviously, you could wait and castle, but I wouldn't want to wait too long. I like a6, trying to get b5 in as fast as possible. We're close to transposing to some kind of like sort of normal line. Like a transposition is still possible back into kind of normal positions, right? Like if white were to castle, b5, queen c2, we're still not transposing. Bishop e7. What do we have to do, like, transpose back into theory here? Let's say, like, rook d1, castles. Black's fine here. Wow, black hasn't lost a single game in that line. I don't know what we have to do to, like, transpose. Well, yeah, queen c6 isn't sure. That's one of those moves, like, I don't know if it's good or not, you know? I remember I had a match with Jacob Racine when I was like a FIDE master Uber driver. I remember I played the white side of the Catalan against him a couple times and lost. I didn't really know what I was doing. I don't know why I was playing the Catalan. It was so random. I've always like chosen my openings almost at random. Yeah, I don't know. It's something about black's move order. The knight on d7 is supposed to be on b8, right? So we can never get a transposition. The knight is normally on b8. Sometimes it jumps out on c6. It's a big difference, so we can't actually transpose. Alright, but I think c5 is okay. We're following Blatny, we're definitely in good shape. Castles, just a little sarcastic joke. At least you're not playing like a half hippo or something. Wow, look at the score here. The score here is just devastating for white. I've played this kind of position before. I mean, black just having trouble. Black's having trouble, like, you know. What do you got? You know, I've got the long diagonal with that bishop on g2. You know, white is just better, but it's not necessarily easy for white to do anything. White has to be skilled. So notice this position. After castles, your opponent played knight c3, which is a little awkward for the white queen, obviously. 27 games with rook d1. And almost none of them white lost. D takes c5, opening up the d file. This is a much more rare move. So a6, there you go. You know, in the Catalan, this is often a mistake, right? Knight c3. I mean, you got the ability to play bishop g5. Doesn't seem that effective here with a knight on d7. Bishop f4 is always, you know, useful. Rook d1 is always useful, but sometimes you can play knight d2. And also you're interfering with the queen's ability to retreat by playing knight c3. Right, like, it just feels slow, though, to play this unprovoked. So that's why everyone played rook d1. Black's not even threatening b5 yet, so this is clearly a good move. I think the question is, Uber Driver, after a6, what are we doing? Are we playing queen c2, or are we, like, taking on c5? I bet not too many people are going to play knight c3 after a6 here. Anatoly Lane versus Gingy. Even Gingy lost to Anatoly Lane. After a6, yeah, queen c2. a4 doesn't work, right? Someone played a4. That's like, duh. I have b5, man. Your rook's hanging on a1. I did that once in a stream game. So after a6, I mean, I would think like this would be possible. But most people played queen c2. I wonder if Larson covered this in his book on the Catalan. Wow. Zoom 0010 hour for operative chess opening models. Dude, what are you talking about? That was a thing? Yeah, knight c3 is inaccurate. Now a6. Now, yeah, he has to do d takes c5 now. Bishop takes c5. That's weird, man. I never heard of that. Did Larson write any other books? Maybe in Danish or something. I don't know, man. Yeah, this is just no compensation for the long diagonal, but otherwise black's okay. So white played b4 here in a bunch of games. This is kind of a weird move to find. I probably wouldn't have played that myself. Rook d1 is funny that no one played rook d1. Now the f2 square is weak. Now we don't really want to play rook d1. b5 can still be met by a4 can still be met by b5. So this is a move. That's what all grandmasters played that. Look at that. Schlosser, Peterson, Tolnai Tibor. Funny that Tolnai would be playing white in a Catalan. He's an e4 player through and through. Yeah, it's hard to say what white should do. It doesn't look great. Yeah, b4 is a cool move, but if you don't know the idea of b4, the idea is to fianchetto, right? So if b4, b5, queen b3, well, this is also a problem, huh? Maybe we can't play b5. It's a problem. We have to go here. This bishop will probably come to b2. The problem is, how do you counter the long diagonal with black? That's why XL Poker's line isn't good enough. You never can fully like counter the h1 a8 diagonal. Like, you need to get your rook. What are you gonna do? Like rook a7. Queen b3, and now it's like, what does black do? You can't play b5, you can't play rook a7, you can't play rook b8, queen c7. So they're all like desperate and played a5, which is a really weird move. Black can't quite equalize. Notice there's a couple games with like bishop d6. I always like this guy. This guy's name, O'Goblin. It's actually O'Globlin, but I like to call it O'Goblin. Nikolai O'Goblin. He's half Russian, half Irish. All right, but seriously, O'Globlin. That's a different guy. Queen e7. We got a square for our queen. The problem is XL Poker's queen in the Catalan. This is a typical situation. With the bishop on e7, we have no place to put our queen. Not enough places to put the queen. So it has to go to like e8 or somewhere very artificial. So d takes c5, bishop takes c5. Rook d1. This is not the game. This is the game. b5. You did b5. And you're fine. Wow. So he just lets you off the hook. Anyway, like rook d1 is a weird move because f2 is weak. That's what I think the main reason why no one played rook d1. The second problem is that black just plays b5. Now this is like compounding white's problems. Now white, has to be careful he's not worse. He could play queen b6. News at 5. XL Poker decided not to play queen b6. I mean, it's definitely playable. What does white do? Like e3? I guess he could play knight to d4. That's a little bit dodgy. I'm not sure I trust it. This is safer. Okay, bishop b7, and now this. And this just doesn't do anything. The only chance for white now would be to like trade the light square bishops. He's lost his advantage on the long diagonal. So now you have to revert to like Sasanko Karpov, where you're trying to trade the light square bishops and reach a position where your knight is like better than a dark square bishop. That's where Karpov did like bishop c8 and avoided the exchange of bishops and went on to beat him. So, yeah, Grunfeld. The Catalan is basically the Grunfeld. Anand gifting a tier 1 sub to Chess Zebra. Thank you, Anand. Did I say Anand? I think I did. I said Anand. Anand, thank you. Acerbate. I meant Anand. Sorry. E3. So now, black is better, but how much better? It's tempting to play h6, but obviously we have to worry about nasty little sacrifices. So XL Poker here, playing like pretty carefully. I imagine you have a lot of different options. This is a very safe move. I mean, obviously, like, here would be an option. That seems weird with the other rook on a8, but you never know if white might play, like, a4. But instead, you could have just done h6, but it's a little safer to do rook e8 first. Just in case of a sacrifice or something, you had the bishop to drop back. Now he does h6. Yeah, I mean, you played this pretty professionally. I'm not even sure if white should play rook d1. I don't know. No, rook c1. Bishop takes f6, knight f6, and now he needs to trade the light squared bishops. But he has to watch for sacrifices at e3. You have a big purchase on February 28th. Wow. You have a big purchase on February 28th. That's interesting. That's my daughter's birthday. What are you're buying a present? Birthday present by any chance? I need a birthday present for my daughter. All right. So, white to trade white square bishops and win. Knight e1. We go with a full Keith Arkle here. Bishop takes e3. Bishop b7. No, I'm just kidding. This doesn't work. I don't think that black can do that. No, seriously, after knight e1, I think white's okay. But, you know, not in any way is white better. Larry Arkle. From Arkham. Yeah, I don't like a3, man. I mean, like, why is white putting his pawns on the wrong color? Hey, black has a dark square bishop. I'm going to put my pawns on dark squares. Maybe I can lose them later. Black has an unopposed dark square bishop and white starts putting his pawns on dark squares. That totally makes sense. It's not like black's threatening b4 or something. Why did he play a3? Is he afraid of, like, bishop b4? That's going to drop a piece. It's a really strange move, a3. And then rook a c8, and I don't know what you should do. Now, speaking of Karpov, rook d8, knight e1, you can play bishop c8. Like, seriously. You can directly use Karpov's idea from the game with Sasanko. Keeping the bishops on the board for the long run. Bishop a8 is not LOL. That's just stupid, dude. That literally has no point. But you played rook a c8. I still think he should. Now white played knight d4. The right idea, trading bishops. No, in retrospect, actually, rook d8 would have probably prevented him from doing that move. Not physically prevented him, but it would have discouraged him. Because now you can keep taking and give him an isolated pawn on d4. I think that was better. I mean, you were looking at this, probably, but there's nothing that white can do. And what's he going to do? How's he going to take advantage of this? It's protected. What am I talking about? Yeah, just rook a d8. I mean, I guess you didn't really want to trade pieces. Alright. Like, he could vacuum the pieces, but you still have winning chances, man. I think the only really important thing here is your bishop pair. Or the most important thing. The most important thing is the bishop pair for black. Objectively. Even if he hoovers the other pieces, the rooks or whatever, we still have chances to win. But I'm afraid, like, white has some serious drawing chances here. Knight on d4 was a good move. I mean, obviously, only black can be slightly better now. But I think white has excellent chances to hang on. Rook c4. I mean, this is a pretty strong move. Isn't it? We're like piling up here. I mean, it looks good. But you had e5. Uh-oh. That reminds me of a tactic I lost a simul game with a couple weeks ago. There was something where I saw this, bishop takes a3, but it wasn't a problem. Yeah, this looks familiar. Damn. So, hinging on tactics. I told you he shouldn't put his pawns on dark squares. It's ironic that he lost it on a tactic, not in like the endgame, but if it wasn't on a dark square, you don't lose it, you know? Actually, it would still be strong. You'd still have bishop a3 and bishop takes b2. Yeah. It's still bad. Either way. It doesn't matter if it's on a3. This is still a strong move. Well, there would be like a trick though, right? Like queen f5, bishop takes b2, rook b1. No. No, that's just winning. Yeah. Well, it was kind of a fairly obvious tactic there. Where else can white go? I didn't mention this a long time ago. I wasn't really in favor of queen h4 necessarily, but I'm not sure if he had something better. Looks like he has to play like queen h3. Obviously that looks strange, but he might be able to back up and put the queen on g2. Actually, this isn't so bad. g4, get out of here. Okay, g4. G4 is a little weakening. I would prefer to just do this. If check, back, queen g2. But I mean, clearly black is better. Queen h3, rook c4. You have a definite, serious advantage. Nice. So how did we not win material here? e5 sacking a pawn, we got it back. And then he had this crazy move out of nowhere with a knight d5. So that was an unexpected turn of events. What about queen b7? Oh, interesting. Okay. So you want to reverse the order of moves? Play bishop takes a3 first. Definitely a possibility, right? That's a tactical trick that Uber Driver learned at chess school. If a combination doesn't work, try switching the order of moves. Larry Christensen told me that. So I guess the same thing, the same type of thing might still apply here. Does it work out better? Well, it might. Does white still have the same type of trick, like knight d5? Does that make sense? To weaken the e5 pawn? That doesn't work, does it? Maybe it works. Just queen b7. Are you sure? I don't know, man. This is a little complicated for me. there's some tricks, man. Queen f3. It's complicated. Queen d5. This is a complicated position. I don't know. You know, there's a point to bishop takes a3. This might actually be better than the game. I'm not sure. Let's see what happened in the game. e5 takes, here, takes, here, takes. I mean, it's pretty similar. Black has an outside pawn majority. Slightly safer king. I'm not in love with this f5 square. That's kind of my problem, you know. Don't really like that. The knight can come in here. What's our advantage? 0.2. Yeah, it looks like the other line was like a tiny bit better. Bishop takes a3. Let's see. Yeah, he still does knight d5. No, this is the wrong line. Here, bishop takes a3 right away. B takes a. Oh shit. You have rook takes c3. Wait, does this work in the game? No. Computer says this is totally winning. But I'm not sure I get it. Queen b7 check and bishop takes a3. Wow. Queen b7 check, what does that do? And then bishop takes a3. Oh, so you would have avoided the whole knight d5 crap. The computer knows everything. So your move is fine. It's just like you should have done the check first, and then you're totally winning. Thank you to the engine. So e5 was actually more forcing, therefore, I guess, better. Uber Driver taught us to always calculate the forcing moves. Queen b7 check first, stopping knight d5 altogether, and then we're just winning. Because you're winning like both his queenside pawns. Thanks to Stockfish for moving it along. But in the game, okay, it's not so clear. Bishop takes a3, you didn't check. It's too late for queen b7. Here. It looks like white is hanging on. I still like your position, but his knight is kind of scary on f5. I would rather be black, I guess. It looks like white has threats, though. You know, I mean, rook d6 is pretty invasive. The Invasive Species Act. So I'm not sure we could just do anything here, man. Isn't rook d6 a problem? No, you have rook f5. Okay, I get it. Rook d6 doesn't work because of rook f5? Are you sure? No. Someone explain to me about rook d6. You have a check again. But okay. You know, white has some moves. No, I mean, it's still playable for white, right? We could do Uber Driver's favorite move, f3. Queen c7 is also plausible. There's also like king h3. That obviously looks kind of dangerous. Who knows, though? You know, I'm not sure. White has a lot of pawns to protect his king. But this seems kind of weird to me, knight d6. I don't understand what knight d6 does. It looks like he has no threat. Well, I don't even understand the point of that move. He's trying to trade pieces? What is he doing with knight d6? I mean, his knight is good on f5. He's threatening knight takes h6 in some lines. I felt like, I don't know, maybe Uber Driver's g4? Yeah, rook d6 is the move. No, I felt it. Rook d6 is the move. I cheated. This is stupid. b4 takes. Now your pawn is going. He had to play rook d6. Now he has no check. And the funny thing is that white has more time than black here. You know, I think that's just like bad time management. You should never like be worse and have more time than your opponent. Well, you should never be losing and have more time than your opponent. Queen e4. Knight e4, queen e4 check. f5. You could take. You could take, but he can get down on the back rank with the 2 pieces. Yeah, he did all that to trade his knight on f5 on e4, I guess, to simplify. He didn't appreciate how strong his knight was on f5. So now he's simplified into an ending. But I mean, I'm not sure about this now. Looks good. I love rook in games. You'll see another one soon. So f5. Oh, that looks familiar. That is an unpleasant move. h4, king g7. Now I was wondering if maybe g4, I don't know, plays e4. I don't know if white can get out of this. What about g4? g4, pawn takes pawn, king takes g4, rook takes f2. I don't like this. This looks bad. He's like paralyzed. Damn. Yeah, he's like just lost. I don't think there's anything he can do after f5. He thought he was okay, but he's not. Damn. f5 is brutal. Is there anything he can do? Wait. King here, h4, king here. So now it's like too late to do king f4 because I have king here. Well, you just take on f2 with check anyway. So my only other suggestion, yeah, man, that sucks. So he plays h4 here, e4 takes, and then king e3. Right. And now you're just totally winning. So he has to play king d3. And he's just going to drop both of his kingside pawns. It's over. Alright, interesting game. Last game, I'm just showing you guys my own game. We don't have to spend that much time on this. But if anyone's interested... Yeah, I'll just go through the early part of the game more quickly. I was black. My opponent is like 26-10. I don't really know why he played that move order with knight f3. I'm not sure what he was trying for there. But we had the same move order with you, XL Hooker, the other day, and for me it's a bit weird. Yeah, it's terrible. Here I am playing stuff that Magnus Carlsen played. Everybody's bashing it. Bishop e7, bishop g2. Why don't I play c5 here? This is interesting. That's objectively black's best move. I'm not sure why. Well, actually, here he has to play bishop g2 first. This is my chance to play c5. That was different. Ayek and Capablanca. Maybe it was the same move order. Actually. Yeah, it was Ayek and Capablanca game 1, and he lost. So g6, castles, bishop g7, and c4, castles, and now white plays the best move, probably d5. And Blobix didn't answer me, but Blobix showed us a game a couple years ago with Shekashev where he did b5 here, you know, and I just couldn't. I haven't studied this. I mean, I really need to study this. Uglablin. Anyways, b5 is really interesting. Blobix had a game in the French team championship. It was like queen b3, queen c8, queen b5. I think this line, but I can't remember. There's a pawn sack here. I don't know if it's good enough or not. But anyway, that's an option. Knight a6 is a move. Knight e4 is a move. And there's the move that I played. Even e6 is a move. Mamajarov. You know, Berkesh. There's a lot of bad players with black here. c6. Here. And again, I don't know the line. cd5, cd5, and now b5. So there's only a handful of games where this position has happened, and white has only won one game. It was Ribley versus Plaskett, 1986. But that game wasn't even played correctly. Ribley played queen b3. Then, I mean, the Banus is just stronger. He actually knows this game. But Plaskett misses. Plaskett plays b4, and white doesn't play queen takes b4. He should have played queen takes b4. Bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, and white has the bishop. White is slightly better. But the funny thing is that Ribley misplayed it. Like, he didn't take the pawn. He plays an amazing move here, which is kind of flooring black at first thought. Knight e5. What I found amazing was that Banus finds this, you know, and I think he might have studied with Ribley. My fear is that I never really knew. I always assumed that Banus studied with a Dorian, because he used to play the Sveshnikov. But maybe I'm wrong. You know, a Dorian doesn't really teach anybody, and he's very difficult to work with. So maybe I was wrong about Banus all along. Maybe he was just a Ribley student. It's interesting that he plays a lot of knight f3 and stuff like that. Maybe he's had multiple coaches. But he plays this like way too close to Ribley. Like it just looks too coincidental. He knows exactly the theme from this game. So two people played a3. After a3, white has nothing. a3, a5. It's like a Polish. So Banus finds the only move. And now Plaskett's b4, knight e5. He should have played a5. And the computer says that black has no disadvantage at all. But Plaskett messed up and played knight a6. And after that, Ribley was better after knight a4. So had he played a5, he was fine. So these guys actually, I think, you know, Plaskett's move maybe not good enough because of queen takes b4. Anyways, I didn't trust b4, so I played a new move here, queen a5. But I think my move might objectively be better than Plaskett's move. I'm not sure. I think this makes sense though. I'm like protecting the pawn on b5. I said never play queen e5. Banus plays what? Boom. Exactly the same idea. Exactly the same idea from Ribley against Plaskett. There's this is a totally obscure variation. I mean, there's almost no way that anybody studied this or something. He just finds this move, opening up tactics on the long diagonal. Now, okay, there are themes here with the pawn. Knight a6. The idea is, if white tries to open up the diagonal, black has no problem. Because I have knight c5, forking his queen and bishop, on b7. I could just play e6, for example, and bishop takes b7, knight c5, queen b5, queen b5, knight b5, and knight takes b7. There's a variation where this happens almost exactly like this in our game, except later. I played knight a6. He finds the best move, rook d1. This is number one move, anchoring the d5 square. And now the computer wants to play this. At first, if you let it run for a minute or two, it says rook fc8. I was afraid of the f7 square. I'm not convinced by this. d6, e6, bishop b7, knight c5, queen b5, queen b5, knight b5, knight b7, knight c7, rook b8. This is where all my time went, calculating the stuff. No, nothing major, just 6-7 move variations. The computer said that white is better, but it's not 100% clear. So instead, I also didn't like this because of knight c6. I wasn't sure if this blockade will hold, but the engine gives white a huge advantage after e4. So I found a way to modify it so it's a little bit better. I played this, and now this is useful here. White doesn't have any tactics. And another thing is he's starting a4 all the time. If he ever plays a4, I can just push, and I'm fine. And the rook helps to protect here. So Banus plays this, attacking my a7 pawn, and now I simply play knight c7. And everything's protected, and again, if a4, I just play b4. So there's no problem. The other thing he's threatening stuff like this. There's a lot of ideas like that. That's why I played rook b8. Here, here, here. Now a3. If I'm not playing Zoltan Ribley, I don't know. It's exactly like Ribley. a3, and now black has to do it. I do d6. And I wasn't sure what Banus would do. I figured there's a strong chance he'll play knight c6. The question is, this type of position, he doesn't have the e4 anymore. And I don't know. It's nice that he has this and stuff, but I have no bad pieces. And it's possible that I could kind of absorb that pawn on c6. He was afraid to play knight c6. So he played, instead, the Ribley-esque knight d3. This is Karpovian, right? Knight b4. Knight c6 also. But mainly white is threatening a4. Queen trap, yes. My queen it has no squares except for a6. So, Astrobate, I was very aware of that. And that's why I played what I did here. The computer, yeah, I have the ideal blockader if he goes for knight c6. Yeah, he was unsure. But the computer says I should play knight d7, and I thought about it, but I wasn't comfortable with my queen. I wasn't happy with this. Apparently there's a move that's almost unplayable. Black has bishop takes e3, but I couldn't even consider that. I didn't even consider this an option. So Zoltan Varga criticized me after the game, but I still think I stand by my decision. to play e6 here. The computer says it's inaccuracy. I should have played knight d7. But the whole freaking variation hinges on like doing like bishop takes e3 or something. I just couldn't abide by that. You know, I don't know if I can give up my dark square bishop on g7. It's pretty weird. So I played e6. And then apparently, this is right. I can't take with the pawn. I'm just like destroyed. My pawns are all destroyed. The idea is that I take with the knight. I just accept having an IQP. And white is better after like queen b4. White has a +1 point something advantage. But Banus didn't trust that, so he plays like a simple exchange here, and then knight f4. And then knight f4, bishop f4. Black to play. I thought I can hold this. I mean, I have one weakness. My bishop's good on the long diagonal. My king is safe. All of my pieces are active. I have rook here, queen a4, rook here. The other rook is coming across. So I have an isolated pawn. You know, if my queen gets over here, he's going to get mated. I was already thinking of ways to do like queen d8, queen d7, queen h3. But right now he's threatening like rook takes d6. So I just decided to give him the pawn because he's gonna be winning it anyway. But this way he has to take with the knight and like simplify. So he plays knight takes d5. He wins a pawn. And now I didn't like this because it centralizes his queen on a really good square in a technical position. So I played rook e8, which is the best move. And now knight f6 check, bishop f6, and queen f3. And I have this attacking e2, and b2 is hanging as well. Now bishop d6, attacking my rook. I protect. He goes here. Black's only move queen b6. And then he finds a really strong move here. Rook d7, of course. Now there's problems with my f7. It prevents me from taking on b2. And I don't remember what the deal is with this. Yeah, rook d6. So I have to play a5, and now Banus could have played rook b7, but he didn't. I think that's the best move. Black's still holding on after queen a6, it looks like. There was something where I couldn't play this, but it's very complicated. I wanted to play queen c6, like in the game. So he plays the second best move, bishop c3, and now I found the only move. In time pressure, I had like just increments left to make 15 moves. So counterintuitive, but I have to trade queens with queen c6. And forcing a trade of queens. Because everything's attacked. e2 is attacked, c3 is attacked, his rook is attacked. He has to trade queens. Take, 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 take. And now I'm threatening rook takes e2. So he has to protect. He plays this. And now I steal the c file with rook c8. White plays rook a d1. I go down on the 7th. He's just in time to guard. And then I support my other rook with rook c6. And now I was, again, like just increments left to make 10 more moves. And apparently his best move here was something very hard to find. Like, I was looking at this ending with move 11. And once black plays like b4, b3, supporting my rook, apparently white like really shouldn't win. He could have found an incredible move here, rook to d3. The idea is if b4 takes, rook takes c2, rook takes c2, and rook b3. And now black has to play the awkward move rook c4. And it's not so simple. You know, maybe white has reasonable chances to win this somehow. It's a much better version in the game. In the game, he played the natural move King F1. He also had like just 10 minutes left or something. He had enough time to think though. And then I wasn't sure if I should push my pawn. After the game, I thought I lost the game because I pushed this pawn too far and it fell. And it was a weakness. But objectively, like, I don't really have another choice. So it's absolutely correct. B4. And that's the point. A takes B4, A takes B4, King E2, B3. And now he can never take on C2. And he can't get his king across to D1 or D3. So if he tries to play like King D1, I just play Rook C1 check. So after B3, I have to make like 5 more moves, 6 more moves to make the time control. My problem was, okay, he plays the obvious move, E4, to give his king a square. And I'm thinking, okay, I think I'm holding on, but I'm afraid of this, like, rook here, king E3. Because if he plays, like, let's say, I don't know, rook, let's say he played, like, rook D3 right away. Well, it's the same thing. I guess I would have to do this. I would go here. But I don't see how white's like... Maybe he can make progress, but how? If he ever takes here, I just take back and his b2 pawn is hanging and I'm going to queen. When he plays this, then it drops. We're going to get a 4-3 ending. There's no way for him to win. I don't know what happened. Like, I thought... Yeah, King D1. Like, rook here, here, King D1. Yeah, I just can't trade rooks. B3, rook D3. So if rook D3... I have to protect it, and now this is a logical suggestion. The only answer is that I have to pull my rook back. This isn't that simple, but I don't think that white is making progress. I don't think he can make progress. I mean, I can like counterattack him and stuff. Okay, it's still like complicated. Let's see what the computer says. Better for white. Yeah, this might actually be his best move. Let's see, rook D3, rook B6, king D1. So apparently it's important like where I put my rook. But I still don't think that white is winning. The computer wants to play rook C7. I can't trade rooks. Rook C7, rook D7, rook C4. The question is, like, how does white make progress? He can't double attack my pawn without something happening. It just doesn't seem like white can win, you know? I don't see a way that white can win. Okay, his move in the game is fine too, E4. But this is like really funny position. I expected E4 and I thought like he was slowly making progress. Something like king E3 and rook D3. But the problem is I can play anything here. The engine actually says the best move for black is G5. Like, raise your hand if you would find G5 in this position for black. G5. It just... Yeah, you like it? At least some of us are honest. I think that most people would probably play H5. Or king G7 or something. I mean, I would be concerned that G5 was like weakening my position. It does discourage H4. But it also makes that pawn itself kind of weak. Also good is like H6 apparently. Or even king g7. I mean, for all I know, like king f8 holds for black. But g5, you know, yeah, it discourages h4. It also, like, there is this, you know, rook h6 could attack the pawn. But it's not mandatory to play g5. Like, I could play anything, like king g7. Just not what I did in the game. Basically, I was, like, down in my increments, and I thought white was making progress, so... Actually, I could have gone here. This move is okay. Rook c4. Attacking his pawn from the side. I still don't think that white is winning. It's going to be hard for him to avoid like 4-on-3 eventually at some point. But it's crazy, man. I mean, after e4, I just forgot he could like take on c2. So I played rook e6 thinking that he had to play, you know, f3 or something. And then I would maybe go back or whatever. But I just forgot he could do the in-between move, like rook takes c2. I forgot he could like trade rooks on c2 in my mind, like he could never take on c2. But now he can take on c2. Now he takes on t2, takes on t2, and then king d2. And then on rook takes c4 he has king c2, and on rook e2 check he has rook d2. And it's game over. It's such a stupid way to lose, you know, it's like ridiculous. If I just had a little bit of time, you know, I would never make this idiotic blunder. I could have just attacked it from the side. I mean, it's the same thing, just better. Basically, in my mind, I was thinking, oh, he'll play f3. And I wasn't sure if I would really seriously consider it, but I mean, f5, it's a theoretical possibility. But, you know, the interesting thing is, what I failed to appreciate here was, like, basically, if I just do something simple, like king g7, if white goes here, I just play rook b6, you know, it's the same thing. You know, king d1, whatever, I pull the rook back. It's incredibly hard for white, as long as I don't trade rooks. I just don't trade rooks, you know, screw it. And I actually have, you know, I have counter-attacking chances with both rooks on the board. It's just, like, ridiculous. Rook e6, and he trades off the pawn. You know, he trades this pawn for this pawn. And I'm losing. Now it's a technical position. If I had a better setup where, like, my king was active... If my king was active and I had played, like, if I had, like, g5, h5, king e6, rook e1, and I have some counterplay or something, I would have been fine. I need basically, like, 4 tempi for this to be a draw, and it's not. You know, he's just, like, perfectly set up. I just gave him the game. I mean, it's crazy. King g7, king c3, it's so easy. A child could win this. It's just totally over. The pawn's just like perfectly placed with the king next to it, and he just like brings his rook back and goes behind. It's ridiculous. Rook e1, h4. Now I made the time control, but like a lot of good that does me. Check here. There's nothing I can do. And then the point is he gets his rook behind and he can guard f2, and I have no compensation. b5. Whatever. And this is my counterplay. It's like 4 moves too late. And I like his final move. Rook d3. This is a really sweet move. Rook d3. The idea of rook b3. I mean, honestly, like, rook b2 is winning as well. But I thought this was cute. You know, rook d3. And there's nothing that I can do. This is such a stupid way to lose. I mean, we play a really tense game, and then I make an unbelievable blunder here. Time pressure, no time pressure. I mean, it's inexcusable. How can I miss that he can play rook takes c2? I mean, it's crazy, you know? I could just resign now. I mean, I wanted to just resign now, but it was too hard psychologically to resign right away. on a one-move blunder. Why is rook e6 a mistake? Because I lose the most important thing in my position, which is the pawn on b3. I'm down a pawn, and the only reason I'm not losing is because he can't take this pawn on b3. And he's like pinned down to his b2 pawn. This is the only reason I'm not losing in this position. It's like the backbone of my whole defense. The pawn on b3. The only reason I did like rook e6 was because I was in time pressure and I thought, oh, okay, he'll just do like f3 and then whatever, you know, I'll just go back. And then he can't make progress. It's like here, rook b6. You know, the other thing is like rook takes b3, rook takes d2 check. He can't take the pawn. And the point of rook b6 is he takes here, I take here, and then I'm on his b pawn right away. So there's nothing that white can do. It's insane. Yeah, but it's funny. He didn't play it perfectly. It's funny, even king f1 was slightly inaccurate. He should have played this. He shouldn't have allowed me to play b3. After b3, it's probably a draw. Okay, this was his best shot. The line we looked at, actually I can play rook takes d2, wow. Wow, rook takes d2 works. Rook takes d2. Well, then maybe that's why rook d3. Rook takes d2, rook takes d2. I can defend with one rook. Holy shit. Oh my god. So how does this work? Rook takes d2, rook takes d2, g5, e4. So even with just one rook on the board, he can't make progress? Rook c1, king e3. Oh, I get counterplay here. You know, so this is like an improved version. If he wins my b pawn, it's okay because I win his h pawn, for example. It's still complicated. It's not an easy draw, but it should be a draw. It's just so sick, you know. I played a good game. I mean, at the end of the game, like, it was like extremely accurate. If you do like stockfish analysis, this is the stockfish analysis of the game. Banus had 0 inaccuracies, 0 mistakes, 0 blunders, 12 cent-upon loss, 97% accuracy, and I made 2 inaccuracies, 1 mistake, 0 blunders, 21% cent-upon loss. Well, you know what my mistake was, right? My mistake was rook e6, like losing the game. My theory is that stockfish is full of shit because moves that lose the game outright are blunders. You know, I'm sorry. Rook e6 is not a mistake. That's a blunder, you know? That is just full-on blunder. Not a mistake, but blunder. So I don't know how we determined that theory. But, it's just crazy, man. You know? Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. We're going to be back tomorrow with Friday rapid challenges at 11:30 a.m. CET. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for your support. Proven anal beads. That's right. That's right. Definitely. I think that Banus only left the room once during the whole game, so he's a pretty serious competitor. I don't think he's got any anal beads. But anything's possible. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thanks, Mr. Coffee. Thanks, everybody. Later.